we're going to talk about what are the careers in advanced manufacturing and what do they look like. So they obviously don't look like this anymore. And they look a lot like this now. So very, very different. What's a little bit complicated when we say the word advanced manufacturing is what does that really mean? We're really getting at digitization, automation, technology, and a whole lot of smart people who are thinking about how processes are going to be redesigned and how to use the technology to be the most effective. We're not talking about people shoulder to shoulder on assembly lines anymore. So you've had previous presenters talk about what is it advanced manufacturing and things like industry 4.0. And it really becomes now a question of, okay, now what? What are the tools that you can use? How can you implement them? Where can they be used? And how to evaluate the effectiveness of them. But it really all comes down to what kinds of business problems are you trying to solve? And then you make your technology decision. So let's talk about the roles that you need, whether they're inside your organization or outside your organizations to tackle these problems. And these are roles that you see all the time, titles that you see all the time. So let's just go down into a couple of them. So what's engineering and data roles? So we might have process engineers, we might have mechanical engineers, production engineers, industrial engineers, they're chemical engineers. They're evaluating processes, they're optimizing how they're going to work to create efficiencies, to reduce costs, to optimize outputs, and to make you more competitively um, able to operate as an organization. My favorite is when we talk about data science and data and what data is all about. And so, I do work as well in high schools, and we'll hear boys and girls talk about they're really good in math. So they think they're going to be an accountant, a stockbroker, or someone who teaches math. There are so many incredible roles now for people, and a need for data architects, data analysts, data scientists. And these are fields that are just absolutely exploding. And these are the types of roles we want our students to be understanding. Then we get into things like programmers or coders. And these aren't men and women who are in their hoodies in their basements anymore. Come on, that stereotype for this digital world has got to go. But these folks are using technology and they're finding new ways to build things differently. We have business analysts, and these are people in your organizations and in technology companies who are understanding and re-architecting processes and the way we do work based on what change is required. Other really important roles, project managers, someone who manages that work, that does budgeting, that understands timelines, scope management, the who, the what, the where, and the how. And designers, user experience, and how to make things effectively work so that users are able to use it and it's easy to use. These aren't roles for people who have to study engineering and computer science. These are roles that people can study a multitude of different programs in order to play these roles. And then finally, what was so interesting about Stephanie's discussion this morning was talking about this culture of innovation. Here we have entrepreneurs who may have come from technical backgrounds or business backgrounds, but these are people who dig into problems to see if there are technical solutions. And if there's enough of a demand, they may start their own company with this new idea and share it with the world. Those just happen to be some images of some pretty cool entrepreneurs here in Atlantic Canada who've gone on to build pretty large organizations. So when you think about the kinds of opportunities, these entrepreneurs have an idea, and it often leads to something that is going to change the way we work in our traditional industries. So, this is where we ask ourselves the $1,000,000 question. How do we find this talent? So we need to look at new models. We need to think about tools such as labs and maker spaces and industry certifications and leadership certifications and micro credentialing. And industry needs to be much more engaged in helping those who are in the education business understand what we need. And why? Because the pace of technology is so fast, we can't keep up any other way. So, where does it leave us? We know we have a skills gap. Stephanie talked about it this morning. Programs like Techsploration exist because there is such a skills gap. So what are we going to do about it? We have to make youth, which is why Techsploration is so important, aware of the opportunities and the skills required and the careers. It's difficult to attract people into these areas when they don't understand and have had no experience in these domains and fields. Why else is there skills gap? Because the rate of change is so quick. How can we keep up? We can't pay sometimes what the talent demands. That can be a challenge. And we also have to look at the training methods that we're using, and are they effective enough to be able to get at the skills? One of my areas um, is that we need to grow these skills and we need to build our capacity. And it's so much more than technical skills. This is what we're talking about. And the report that Stephanie mentioned this morning brought, a focus onto this. It's problem solving. It's that creative mind that can think about the way the business is working now and how it needs to change. It's collaboration and building that culture of collaboration. Highly organized, you need those skills if you're going to be a project manager. And it's things like digital literacy, design, communications, global citizenship, and adaptability. And most will say problem solving capability and communications are absolutely critical. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us. What do we have to do now? We need to build up this workforce. So we need to retrain and reskill existing employees, and that's going to take a lot of work. We need to bring in more talent to our region here in Atlantic Canada, and that can be from all over the world. And we need to increase enrollment at our post-secondary educational institutions so that we can fill these roles. And lastly, we are coming out of an old paradigm, and the pandemic has shown us just how critical it is to be able to imagine the way we're going to work differently and work in a digital way. Long gone are the greasy, old, dirty floor plans. That's just not reality in how we're working. And there are tremendous opportunities in this space for existing people who are working in advanced manufacturing and for youth thinking about what kind of careers they want to create. So if you are a business, you're thinking about what problems do I need to solve? How can technology help me? And then how do I think about getting a digital IT provider to help understand that problem? And then imagine what sort of technology solutions can be put in place, whether it be AI, data analytics, you name it. That's really the outcome that we're trying to get to. Focus first on the problems you want to solve and build the talent around that.